What's going on, guys? This is Raymond Iron Bottom Kinney, and today I want to talk about this. I like to look at the world as a spherical mirror, reflect on our collective inner dominant assumptions. Now, science does tell us that we are entangled, energetically entangled, and what seems to be physically separate from each other is energetically connected. And science tells us that. I believe for the most part. Uh, and I think some of them there's one, I think some like to refer to the world as the holographic principle, where basically everything changes once one thing's changed. I think there was an experiment by a photon principle where one photon is split in two and 14 miles apart. And they tested the photon where one of those photons, they affected the photon, they moved it, and then the other photon behaved in the same way. It wasn't like some beam just from one photon. It's not like some beam just went to the next and then affected it. They simultaneously affected one another. And our whole world is made up of photons. And, think of it like this too. Those scientists that affect those photons, they're the ones observing it. If there's no observer, there's no effect onto the photons. So where I'm getting at here is even in practicing in imagination, imagining like Neville says, imagine creates reality. His science, the way he teaches is very, very parallel to the scientific discoveries that are still being discovered, guys. Science is not fixed in a static state. It's always, there's new discoveries to science. All science is here. It's just that we're discovering more and more of it, when really we're just infinitely discovering new science. But it will never, from my perspective, I don't think, from an analytical viewpoint, will never be able to outmatch spiritual law of assumption. And where I'm getting at is, I'm getting at it from this way, from a very grounded standpoint, and trying to bring it into a way to help others understand that you don't need to know the science behind all this, guys. I only like to bring up a little bit of the science just to really help make this stuff believable and realizing, hey, this science is actually backing it up. I'm telling you, you don't need to know all the complicated science of especially when it comes to law of assumption. I'll give you some examples here. Say maybe we rely on some external source, a doctor, physician, government, politicians. Those are only collective reflections of what's going on within us collectively, guys. The collective external world is a direct reflection of the collective inner world, or inner dominant assumptions. Or maybe if you put your convinced assumption into, say, a doctor healing you with a pill or some kind of shot or some kind of medication, and you assume that's going to heal you, it's going to heal you. If you're truly convinced it's going to heal you, it's going to heal you. But here's the thing too: you're always going to be attached to that thing. Now, don't get this twisted, guys. I'm not a licensed professional, but I speak from experience that our assumptions are our inner dominant assumptions. Say, like, if we desire health and we impress that inner assumption onto our desired state, it's going to show up in our physical experience. And things like the doctors or physicians, they only help strengthen and convince our inner dominant assumptions. Because trust, as human beings, guys, we have a tendency to want to rely on external sources, including me, guys. There's things I rely on external sources, like um, let's see, I mean, yeah, things like putting on sunscreen. If I feel like I'll get a sunburn, I'll get a sunburn because I have a slight inner assumption that I'm going to get a sunburn if I don't put sunscreen on. And but yeah, this is really, I find this very valuable information, guys, especially during the time of just with pandemic and all of that. I feel we need to start thinking differently. No, I'm not saying to abandon ways of thinking like going to a doctor or physician or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. Do not get this message twisted. I'm speaking from a very grounded standpoint. But I want to try to help bring out this message that we need to supplement our assumptions to empower ones in conjunction with our current realities, and to really enhance our realities in a more empowering way, rather than rely on these external sources and just trying to get by and just to only survive. We're here to thrive, guys. We're not here just to survive and just get through life. We're not victims, guys. The external world, many may think we're victims because of some external distractions. But no, guys. We are the co-creators of our realities. And we're creating as we go along. Especially in times of external crisis, we can still create as we're going along through periods of struggle. So, I hope this message helps. And I bless you all, and happy manifesting.